Daniel Litzenberger speeds onto an Idaho highway, drawing State Trooper Chris Nelson and Bonneville County Deputy Brian Lovell into a deadly chase.
As I was driving home, I heard that Bonneville County was in pursuit of a drunk driver.
The officer that was on the scene, he was giving out the description of a blue and white Ford pickup that this Litzenberg guy was driving.
Bonneville County said that they needed help. I grabbed my vest, my gun belt, some handcuffs. I grabbed everything. So I hit the lights and siren to clear out the intersection. I noticed the pursuit was coming at me. And I noticed he was doing well over 50 miles an hour and he wasn't slowing down. He was coming right at me. So I swerved to the right to get out of his way and flipped a U-turn and jumped in the pursuit.
Sergeant says, okay, you're the second guy in line, start calling the pursuit.
375, we're eastbound on Lincoln Road.
It's 5 o'clock traffic. There's just tons of cars on this particular road. There ended up being a couple of other county deputies in behind me and Trooper Nelson.
Litzenberg just blew through the stop signs. I just knew from my experience, you know, got a drunk driver and driving like this, it's not gonna end up pretty good. They're gonna wind up taking themselves out or taking someone else out.
He's driving all over the line, he's crossing the center line.
We were traveling at speeds excess of 80, 90 miles an hour. I got this sinking feeling the only place for him to go was out to the reservoir and it wasn't gonna end good.
As we get close to the top of the hill before we drop down into the Blacktail, there's a couple of large 90-degree turns that take up about 1.5 miles to make all the turns. There's a couple spots in the S-curves where I thought maybe he would crash. Once you get down there, there's no phone service, there's no radio service.
And we followed Litzenberg down to the boat ramp area, parking lot, and he pulled his truck right up against the guardrail. And we set up in felony stop position. I can't believe he's gonna make it this easy for us that he just pulled up to the guardrail, kind of no place to go, and stops. I moved from my car up to the Deputy Lovell's car. So I started asking him if he could see inside the pickup. And he said to me that it looked like he had something, but he couldn't tell. And so I started trying to position myself, and we drew our guns and pointed at him and started yelling at him, giving him commands to show us his hands and come out with his hands up. We couldn't see inside the pickup. Pretty soon I heard the engine rev on the pickup and saw the reverse lights. Come on, man, he's gonna ram these guys. We started yelling, look out, he's gonna ram you. And he backed up and stopped and then started to take off again. My thought was, you know, containment. I've got to cut off this guy's exit. I can't let him get out of here. And so I went and jumped in my patrol car and threw it in reverse and just floored it. As I was backing up, looking where I was going, I turned around and looked forward, and I noticed he wasn't trying to get away from me. He was coming at me now. It hit with such force. He was probably going around 35 miles an hour or so when he hit me head on. Both the airbags blew in my car filled with smoke. I remember thinking, holy crap, can't believe this guy just ran me. And also thinking, okay, he's elevated it to deadly force now. No sooner do I get out of my car and I look up and he's out of his pickup and he's rounded it. He had a big knife in his right hand, probably a 14-inch knife, and he's just walking at a fast pace. It was almost a charge. He wasn't running, but he was charging at me. I can't believe this guy's coming at me with a knife now. And I started yelling, drop the knife, drop the knife. Just remember pulling the trigger as fast as I could. But I remember hearing every single gunshot go off in my head. I was counting them out in my head as I was squeezing the trigger. And I grabbed the mic and told dispatch that shots had been fired and there was a man down. Then we grabbed first aid kits and went to work on him.
He was bleeding from several places.
And I was kneeling down. I had both hands plugging bullet holes, and I was looking at his face. I was looking at this guy, and I was just thinking, man, this guy just tried to kill me. You know, he rammed me head on, and then he charged at me with the knife, forced me to shoot him, and now I'm trying to save this guy's life.
This knife that was on the ground ended up being a serrated saw. When it was folded out, it was about a foot long or so.
Received a fracture on 3 of my vertebrae from the crash. I made a choice a long time ago that if it ever came down to me or someone else, it was going to be someone else.
So fasten your seatbelts. You're about to get a front seat view of the world's scariest police chases. We begin in South Carolina. A pickup out of control, and this truck was flying. The chase quickly got to high speeds, on the wrong side of the road, on the right side of the road, and on both sides of the road. This chase went down city streets, side streets, dusty roads, and country lanes. But when the trooper turned the next corner, he was in for a surprise. The truck had hit a vehicle and stopped, but only for a moment. Then the truck rammed the patrol car and took off in the other direction. But less than a mile away, the officer was able to catch up a second time when the truck slammed into another motorist and a police car. But when they tried to stop the truck, it roared off again, crashing once more into the patrol car.
S02E01, he's done hit me head on. You want me to go ahead and try to get it back straight? If you can, he's going to kill somebody.
Determined to stop this before someone was killed, the officer continued to give chase as the truck wildly veered from one side of the road to the other. At that point, the officer realized that the truck was taking a shortcut to the freeway, and if this person got on the freeway, someone was going to die. The truck tried to speed up one more time. It went off the road, lost control, and hit the officer. But the officer was still in for one more surprise.
Until the very end, when I went up to the vehicle, I never had any idea, and I didn't believe it would be a female till I actually saw her with my own eyes. I found out later that she was smoking some crack cocaine, and if she had continued on and we hadn't have stopped her, I hate to think what could have happened. There's no telling.
Laredo, Texas. Trooper Joe Ramirez of the Highway Patrol is pulling over this pickup for a simple seatbelt violation.
10-4, standby 1.
But as soon as the trooper opens his door, the suspect bolts, tearing down the interstate. The officer soon learns the awful truth behind the suspect's flight. The man murdered his own wife in Springfield, Illinois, and is on the run in this stolen truck.
Possibly armed and dangerous. Should be considered armed and dangerous.
He's already gone 1,500 miles to evade justice. And he's not about to give up now. The suspect crashes through a set of detour cones and onto a stretch of unpaved highway behind a Border Patrol checkpoint. Kicking up gravel and dust, he disappears in the distance until the trail leads back to the open interstate. Trooper Ramirez tracks him down, but both powerful vehicles are almost evenly matched.
In excess of 120.
The madman sidewinds through slower traffic, and the trooper can do nothing to stop him.
I don't want to get too close to the guy. He's acting erratic now.
That's when the pursuit gets a little help from above.
Looks like we have a helicopter.
Evading a checkpoint is a federal offense, and the Border Patrol chopper wants to make that fact perfectly clear. But the killer is hell-bent on escaping. He doubles back across the median and heads toward the Mexican border.
Southbound.
Now, he's only minutes from getting away with murder, but he can't outrun a helicopter. Suddenly, a log jam ahead. The suspect is blocked in front by 2 semis. But this desperado is determined to make it to Mexico and freedom. The suspect dodges left, then right, barging through one rolling roadblock and careening past another.
We're doing 105. He's driving really recklessly.
But the officers stick with him. All the while, the suspect races closer to the border and toward more Border Patrol agents. The chopper pilot continues distracting the harried suspect, taunting him like an unshakable shadow. The plan works. The distracted suspect blazes past an ambush and never sees the spike strips. Within minutes, his shredded left front tire erupts with smoke. The frustrated fugitive lashes out. He even tries ramming semis off the road. If he can cause the drivers to panic, their big rigs could jackknife and block the road, stopping the whole line of troopers behind him. By now, Trooper Ramirez has assistance on the ground. An unmarked unit races forward to ram the suspect off the road. Seeing a potential hostage, the maniac veers after an innocent driver in the breakdown lane, threatening to take both vehicles over the embankment. As cops surround him, he throws his hands up. But it could be another trick. The troopers aren't taking any chances. The frightened civilian gets out of the way as the suspect's 1,500-mile run for the border is finally brought to an end. This man thought he could get away with murder as he desperately blazed a trail to Mexico.
We're doing 105. He's driving really recklessly.
But the faster he charged towards the border, the sooner he crossed the Border Patrol. With a little help from above, this murderer was taught a lesson that he won't forget. You can't outfly justice.
Right now, they just wouldn't have a chance.
Yeah, we're coming in visual on the suspect.
I see patrol cars now, and traffic is really getting... Oh!
The